Yeah.
88.1 XFM Tauranga Tech Music Station. Also another episode of Mic Time with Marty, sponsored by Mic Time with Marty. I have got a familiar face to the Mic Time with Marty talk show, Daniel Betty, but also I've got the one and only Mr. James Cleary, who have just announced that they've produced and making an amazing movie called What Lies in Between, right here in New Zealand. So how's it going, guys?
Yeah, really good. Thanks, Martin. We've been working hard trying to get a film together. As you said, it's called What Lies Between, and it's a beautiful new New Zealand feature film.
Can't wait to see it. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
All right. So, it is a psychological thriller. James, what was the idea for this film?
Yeah, it's sort of evolved over time. Project I sort of started 10 years ago, and the original sort of iteration of it was more of an art house film
Hmm.
with some interesting elements that I thought were either will land or won't land. And then getting a bit further into the project, I ended up taking out 15 to 20 pages and really just focusing in on the two main characters and introducing more of the psychological genre elements to really drive the film. But it's a psychological thriller, but it does have sort of a European sort of element to it. So it's not your average sort of Kiwi film that you would go and see. So it's something different and allows you to explore something and come away and just really contemplate what you've watched
Mm.
as well.
Yeah, very nice. So the little blurb was, while visiting isolated farmland, a writer haunted by his past discovers its people and surroundings might not be as unknown to him as he first thinks. Daniel, when not only being the producer but also being the lead guy, like playing Jim, how much of you was that? Was it a struggle or was it just like second nature?
Sorry, the dog's just getting a little bit excited there. Um, yeah, look, it's always interesting. You've got to wear two hats in those types of situations, Martin. So, from the first parts working with James, very much in that producer role. But for me, I took probably a good 12 months preparing for the role. Not only learning the lines, but also trying to inhabit the character and build that physicality into to me. And that's always that's part of the big challenge, is that I think for me it's about trying to find the habits of this person
Hmm.
and what really drives them to be there.
Yeah,
And what's beautiful about this is being a psychological thriller. What I've actually had to do is do the role really big to then pull it all right back in so
hmm,
that it really kind of focuses in on the true elements of who this person really is.
yeah,
Um, and and that's always part of the beauty of creating a role like this.
yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome back, James. Um, so James, in the trailer,
Really
Jim
direct
pulls out a
side. Excuse me.
picture of his wife and son from a book by Marcel Proust. Like, was there any significance for that book, or was it just the first one that you saw?
There's a few books actually in the film, which yeah, there's definitely is an element in that Search of Lost Time. If anyone's ever read it, it's sort of the story of a man writing about a memory in the past and taking the viewer through that memory
Hmm.
as he explores his old childhood sort of haunts and holiday homes. So, and it really plays into the journey that Jim's taking as he's in the present, but he's very much bound into the past. And there's also which that there is a link into that story. And then there's also the turn of the screw. I don't know, that's sort of placed in there quite subtly. Henry James, which is sort of a tension-led sort of novella about people at the window and odd things happening. So it sort of pulls into that. So there's definitely a purpose to the placement of those and significant literature to me in my reading and forming my sort of perspective on writing and story.
Okay. Now, Daniel, obviously, for this being a psychological thriller, you had to get in the mindset of someone that's going through significant trauma. How did you get into that mindset, and what were the steps for you to be able to get into the eyes of Jim?
Yeah, I think as an actor, one of the big things that we try not to do is to show people who we really are. So, for instance, if someone is intoxicated, we don't believe we're intoxicated. If we're sick, we don't show that we're sick.
Mm,
It's generally down to the interpretation of the audience to see what the actions are of the character. So, for me, getting into the mindset of Jim, we did a lot of research around various sort of elements, shall we say, of the mind. And we never talked about anything to do with trauma. We never talked about anything to do with pain or those sorts of things, because actually at the heart of this story and the heart of this character is this unconditional drive. And so he fully believes in his environment. He fully believes in what he's doing. He's totally engrossed in completing what he needs to complete. But I think what he doesn't realize is that as he starts to engage more with the things that are in front of him, or the people that are coming to see him, or the help that's being provided, or the things he finds, or the forest he goes into, he realizes that actually all of these things are sort of driving him towards something. And so I think, in short, playing a character like Jim for me has been just this real big journey of you have to be prepared and you have to do a lot of research to
mm,
understand what are some of the, shall we say, physical outcomes for these things. But actually, when you watch the film, you'll see that really you're watching anyone, the person next to you, someone that you see at the coffee shop. There, he's an everyman. He's a person that you would look at and go, wow, he's a successful writer. And so that's the catch of this piece, I
mm.
think, which is really beautiful.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think too on that point is that Dan would do all this work, but the nuance of the film and how the action plays out is very subtle, and it's almost for almost half of the film, it looks like Dan's not doing much, and there's
Mm,
very little dialogue. So the first 13 minutes, there's no dialogue, and you're sort of just exploring Jim entering this new environment, and he's very much isolated and alone.
yeah.
And so yeah, it was interesting that you had all that prep work behind you and you can call on it. But then it's the hard part is actually do have that, embody that, and convey that without actually conveying too much.
Mm,
Because, so that's a big part of that prep work and what you bring to the set. And then you sort of just use it, but it's there, but it's not present in the performance, if you know what I mean.
And I think
yeah.
that comes down a lot too with the relationship between the actor and the director,
Hmm.
is that the director knows the amount of work that the actor's put into it, but has also the ability to be able to encourage the actor to pull it back or to bring
Mm,
it forward, and the different moments so that it gets the performance that you're kind of looking
Hmm.
for. Mm.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of that, James, how did you approach Daniel when it came to making this film? And dare I say it, was Daniel your first choice to play Jim?
Oh, so as I said, I've been like 10 years writing this film, and I sort of got to the point where I was sort of doing it by myself, and I actually approached Dan through a contact Dan, and so I rang him and said, I just need some help with casting. Do you think you can link me up? Some people would sort of want to try and push the project forward. At the moment, it was just me on it. And so we met up, and yeah, gave him the script, and he sort of went away and said, "Oh, yeah, I'll have a look, and I'll get back to you with some suggestions." And then the next time we met up, Dan had the chance to read the story, and he sort of said, "Oh, I like to put myself forward to play Jim." I was really drawn to the story, and it's such a great character play as an actor because it offers so much, and that sort of just started from there, and that's when we sort of joined forces as a team as producers as well, and it sort of kicked on, and in the last 2 years is yeah we've been focusing on that and producing the film in
Yeah,
our other roles as well.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
Ryan Reynolds wasn't available at the time, Martin, so it's
if only.
common problem. Common problem.
So, Daniel, what was it that attracted you to the script of the film?
I think what I like about the story is that it's not a normal story that we see on the big screen,
Mm,
and the way that it's been told as well. So quite often when we watch films these days, we're slapped around the face with what's coming next, or we know how it's going to end, or a lot of those stereotypical type characters. So what I really liked about it was that this was a story that um, it could be anyone, it could be your next door neighbor, it could be people that you know, it could be someone that you've heard about, because really at the essence of the story, it's a story about love, and I think in every relationship, we have our, shall we say, our secrets,
mm,
the things that people don't know about us, or the things that are a part of who we are. And this is kind of like a really beautiful insight into, shall we say, some of the struggles that we have within relationships, but also the fact too that there's always hope. And through resilience, and the importance of relationships, you're always going to come out better, stronger, and with more hope. So um, that's what really kind of drew me to the role and to the story.
yeah. So James, on the top of the poster for the film, there are the words, "Some things are best forgotten." How did you come up with that, and is there any in-depth meaning for it?
There definitely is. And when you see the film, you'll really it will have a meaning for you.
Hmm.
I guess the character Jim's gone to this cottage isolated, finished what he's writing, but there's something that pulls him back out of the present into his past, and it's this moment in time for him that he's forced to relive over and over and can't get past. And being in that environment in the forest and the isolation just draws him further into that, and he's drawn into that past, and yeah, so that's this really the ties the significance of that little tagline there to the story.
I also love it that since it is a psychological thriller, when people are in silence, their brains tend to like run 100 miles an hour. So it's also catering to like teens, but also catering to adults. Like literally, you could just be in pure silence, and your brain could just be thinking of the most randomest things. So I think that's great, and I cannot wait to see it. Um, so Daniel, from first meeting you 4 years ago from Creative Leaders to now, how has the journey been from teaching the past, present, and future of performers and creators to now being on the big screen?
Yeah, it's great. I feel very privileged and very lucky to have, helped shape and influence a lot of young people to follow their pathways and their dreams
Mhm.
in the creative realm, whether it be from radio to being on stage to, playing the guitar or being in a rock band. I'm still a great believer that creativity allows all of us to express ourselves and will help us to find our own identity as we move forward. But coming forward, into playing a role back on screen again, it's a really great feeling. It's so lovely to put something out there that you're really proud of, and to you know, it's been really quite interesting over the past couple of weeks. Everyone's asked me that question of, oh, what's it like, being in a big movie on screen, and from my perspective, it's normal
Mm,
because that's what I do in my job. And so when you sort of look at it from that perspective, it sort of normalizes the fact that sometimes when we go and watch stories and remind people that what they're watching isn't real, they're
mm,
characters, and it's a made up character, position, and everything that we've done.
mm.
So yeah, we're looking forward to seeing how people respond and react, especially, because we're opening this week and, the theatre's going to be filled with all of our closest friends and family members. And, they're all going to walk out there with some ideas about what they've watched and what
Yeah,
they think. So we'll work our way through
yeah.
that.
Well, I mean, for also James, like, how does it feel having written this to now getting a cast, getting producers, getting sound team to now being able to say, I'm gonna have a movie on the big screen?
Yeah, it's to be honest, I just try to it's just been some people I talk to, they try to do too much and get to the point without the stages in between. And it's never really been about looking at the end stage. You keep that in the back of the mind, but it's all just ticking off the steps in between. So it's just really for me, it's just moving on to the next step, and just trying to catch up because I've never done this before. So yeah, it's just working in the process at the moment, and doing it, and going through each stage. So it's quite exciting, overwhelming. It's almost like from what I've been working for so long, it's sort of coming to head because no one wants to make something and it just no one watches it. So
Mm.
there's an art form or anything. So it's beautiful that you can make something and people will go, "Wow, I want to see that," and then they go and see it and they have a reaction because the other day we were doing test screenings and it was sort of the first time beyond the sort of very core post-production team that we had a audience that knew nothing about the film. It was really strange, like I was sitting next to a woman that is seeing it for the first time, and her reactions, and she's like this and crying and stuff. And it's a really strange feeling to suddenly have an audience and seeing how they respond and react. And that's the most beautiful thing, and what they connect into it, and how they respond to it. And it's like, yeah, it's a little bit of magic really when you get to see it like that.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, well, no doubt, like when the film makes big success, do you think we'll ever see a spin-off or maybe a sequel?
To be honest, I'm not a big Hollywood sequel person. I think
Hmm.
this film has been yeah, it's been a journey for me, and it's I think you grow through it too, and we've sort of come from nothing, and me able to make that and learnt so much. You sort of let go of that, and you say, oh, and there's bits that are quite frustrating. That oh, I wish I could have done that better, but you let it go. So I've just sort of really enjoyed the journey that film's given me and the opportunity to do it. And then I'm looking to move on to the next one, which is yeah, been in the back of my mind.
And I think the other answer to that too, Martin, is that once you see the film, you'll realize that this one can't have a
Yeah.
sequel. This one can't have sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, sure.
but who knows? You never say never, eh? You could have a spin-off. But you just don't know. You don't know how the audience is going to react, what the response is going to be, everything. So yeah, it's all uncharted territory for
Hmm.
Yeah.
myself, really,
We could do
indeed.
like a Star Wars go backwards.
Yeah.
Like Jim before.
Well, it's funny because actually the composer was watching the film, and there's a moment when Dan's on the phone um, talking to she says something, she mentions her friend's name, Kate, and he goes, Kate, is that be quite spooky? That's like that character Kate in that short film you had. Imagine if that linked through. I said I've never really thought of it like that, but yeah, just the connection of the names. It could possibly be the same person, but yeah. So there's already that connection that he sort of saw and brought to it. Yeah.
Love it. So without spoiling some of the film, Dan, in the trailer we see a mark on your hand. What was it from?
Nectarines.
Yeah. Um, it's an interesting like little layer. It's a layer on a layer on a layer on a
Mm,
layer. It's quite striking in the trailer, that open hand and the discovery of the blood.
mm,
I guess when you watch it, you'll still see that and you'll be like, where's that blood come from? And it won't be to the end, or might not be to days later that you'll work it out.
hmm
Well, because right at the start, because there's no dialogue for 13 minutes. And right at the start, what the audience doesn't realize and what people have said, like, there's no hook in this film. They said the hook is the audience doesn't even know they're in it. They're already in it and they're
mm,
drawn into it and they're getting sucked into this realm. And so all these layers they're getting set up, and then it's all in the setup, and then it sort of releases and they're in it and there's just like drawn right into it. So all those layers are getting placed all the way through. So that's a nice little link back to a layer
yeah,
within the story, which is all there for people to discover and work out. And there's lots of them right from
yeah,
the start all the way through.
And I think what's also to kind of add to that is that complexity comes from being subtle.
mm,
And if you're a person who loves film and loves to watch film, when you watch this, you're actually you're looking at it and living it in the moment. But what will start to happen after about 5 minutes is that you'll start to realize that you need to sort of take in a lot of the information that you're seeing.
yeah,
So
It's more significant than
it's
you
more significant than
feeling.
you
Yeah, but
think.
you don't realize until you get the whole story, the
yeah,
Mm.
significance of it, which is a beautiful way to do
Mm.
it. But everything's sort of like you point out about the books and stuff that are within it, everything is um, for me, has meaning within the sub layers of the plot and the themes, because I
mm,
think it's important when you bring that sort of consciousness and intent to it. It just fattens everything out and just it allows more of that out the film to just live in there and more to be discovered. And it doesn't matter if it's not discovered either in the same sentence, because it's just adding really to the texture of it and the capabilities really. But it's yeah.
Mm.
yeah. Well, I mean, as a movie buff myself, literally, I tend to watch at least a film every night before I go to
Yes.
sleep. I love movies. They're my favorite. I'm also one that likes to kind of look at the in-depths and try and find the Easter eggs. So as soon as I found the trailer, I was watching it backwards and forwards, forwards and backwards. I was even watching it slowly to try and see if I can find little bits to like talk about. So when I saw the bruise on Jim's hand, when I saw the book, the way like even like Jim's posture like was a bit different in certain ways.
Mm.
Um, how long did it take for you guys to film? Like, obviously, you have all these elements. You've got the layers that you were just talking about, even the 13 minutes of no dialogue. How long did the filming process take?
Yeah, you're always very conscious on how long it takes to film.
Mm,
For most normal feature films, it would be between sort of that 6 to 10 week period. So you're sort of talking about maybe between 30 to 50 days to film.
mm,
But each day that you film costs money. And so what we had to do was we really needed to think about how best to film it and then how to minimize and reduce as much as we can. So we ended up filming the whole thing in 19 days. So we did long hours
mhm,
for probably we broke it up into 3 phases. And for the first phase, we shot for about 10 days in the cabin. And we blacked out all the windows. so that we could shoot night for day and day for night. And we were probably doing maybe 15, 16-hour days at that point. We kind of lost track of whether it was day or night there for a little while, a little bit like what happens, I guess, for Jim
Mhm.
as a character. And but we were focused. We knew what we needed to achieve. The best thing was because we were all together and we were staying together in the cabin. We could actually watch the footage as well, which was super valuable because then we could actually decide whether we'd caught what we really wanted for the story, and we could catch up or reshoot it the next day if we needed to. Um,
Yeah.
so that was really great, being able to spend all that time together. Um,
Yeah, and within that, a lot of films will shoot a lot of coverage, and I've worked on films where they just shoot it, shoot it, shoot it, and just leave it, throw it at the editor. We didn't shoot any coverage. We didn't have the luxury. I didn't have the luxury of just shooting every shot and angle. So the time pressures is so much that it just had to do the shots that were necessary, and then I thought would tell the story. And so you're hoping you've got it, and within those shots. So that's another pressure of being low budget, that you're having to got being a
Mm.
lot more considerate about what to shoot, and you don't have the luxury of just a big team shooting lots of different angles and lots of scenarios. So very specific about outcomes and performance too. So we're not improvising a lot in the sense, oh, we've got it in the can, let's try this, in a way, I always had a very set idea in my head of what I was filming. So it sort of played into being able to shoot it under that sort of pressure as well. Yeah.
Mm. All right. Well, gentlemen, what are your top three favorite films? Dan, we'll start with you.
wow, top three favorite films. Um, I have so many, Martin. It's not
I
funny,
know.
and I think it's probably across genres as well. Which I think. So I'm really loving at the moment a lot of TV series, to be honest with
Mhm.
you, as well. So I actually think that the kind of long form TV is starting to almost challenge a lot of our feature film kind of elements now. I've just finished watching Boots on Netflix, which I thought was really interesting depiction of, the military and Marines. Some of my favorites though from the past. I've always loved action adventure films. So I'm a Indiana Jones probably favorite. Always loved the Indiana Jones films as a kid. When I've, sort of developed, I guess, into my, maturing, um, I really quite like as well. I've just finished The Slow Horses. That's pretty awesome. I think
You
the
said
way they
three,
picked
top
that.
three, then.
I know I could keep going. I just love, kind of all of these things. But probably one of my favorite films of all time would be something like Shawshank Redemption.
Mm.
And I think it's about the way it's shot, it's about the story, it's about those actors, it's about the relationships. Yeah. So that's me. Sorry. That was a tough question.
Um,
Thanks.
there's no argument for mine. Like Andrei Tarkovsky's probably my favorite director. Stalker, my favorite film.
Hmm.
And then and probably The Mirror of his as well. It's probably got one of the best shots in cinema history in it. If you know that film, you probably know the shot I'm talking about.
Mm.
But and then I love like Three Colors Blue. Uh, that's Juliette Binoche in it, and also Ingmar Bergman. So an influence on this film was his film Persona. I
Mm.
don't know if you've seen that one. And yeah, so that's three of some of my favorite ones, sort of European centric. And the beautiful thing about Tarkovsky is it's so visceral, and just so much to it that
Mm.
it just pulls you in. And yeah, him, and but then you get Bergman, which is sort of very dialogue and focused and less like super technical with cameras, but they both just surprise you, and I think, and then yeah, so those are probably my three of mine.
Yeah.
So I recommend Stalker if you haven't seen it. I don't know if you've seen it. Have you?
No, I don't think I have. I will definitely try my best to try and find it. It sounds great.
Yeah, I think it's actually on YouTube in HD, free to view, and The Mirror, which is yeah, two of his most famous ones.
Sweet.
Mm.
But
Well, I mean,
you'll watch Stalker and you'll see exactly what I mean.
yeah.
It's just cinema beyond cinema. And yeah.
Well, I mean, if you ask Stan, I'm a bit of a funny individual, so obviously Jim Carrey's one of my biggest influences. But also, I love the fact that this is a psychological thriller because one of my favorite films is Split.
Yep.
Um, Going through the mindset of someone with DID and things like that. So, again, did you always want it to be a psychological thriller, or did you ever see it as just like another genre or making a complete another genre on your own?
It started at art house and shifted to psychological thriller. But people would say, "Oh, is that the sort of films you make?" And I said, "Well, no, it's just the genre that suited that story that came to me, and it just suited the context of the story." And then I said, and so people, "Well, what do you?" And I say, "Well, I've got a romantic comedy, and then I've got some period sort of gothic horrors and stuff." So it's not so much genre specific or comedy or horror or thriller. It's just more the story that evokes that, and then yeah, writing to that genre and speaking to it. Because I think when you see something that's really good in any genre, it's you just wow, that was a great comedy or something.
Yeah.
It's just really you can really respect them more as long as they understand the genre they're doing and and the
Mm.
audience they're going to. So that's yeah, it's just making sure you meet those elements. But yeah, I don't have anything specifically like I'd work and constantly if you know what I mean, if that's what you're asking.
Well, I mean, if you ever do a comedy, you know where to find me. Um,
Nice.
so Dan, when you guys were filming, you guys filmed like 50 minutes away from Hastings. Why did you guys decide to film in Hastings, in Hawkes Bay and in Auckland?
Yeah, I think it was really important for us to shoot a feature film here.
Mm,
We've both been in the industry for a long time, and Hawke's Bay is now our home. And I've traveled a lot for work, and I've decided that actually I'd much prefer it if the work was here.
mm,
So we've been working pretty hard to develop the film industry here in the region. Wearing a different hat. I also am the chair of the regional film office here, Screen Hawke's Bay.
mhm,
And so we're trying to, I guess, encourage people to bring their films here to this region, but also champion our own stories as well from our own filmmakers.
mhm,
So Hawke's Bay is a pretty amazing spot. The locations here are untapped. It's got beautiful sunshine hours. We've got some of the most stunning, unique kind of spaces geographically. Cape Kidnappers is like no other in the country. Um, Architecture wise, we've got our Art Deco and Spanish Mission style are probably world leading, especially in the
mhm,
top in the Southern Hemisphere. And on top of that, we've got some pretty amazing creatives who choose to live here too. So we were really passionate about um, getting more films made here. You know, um, we've had some pretty amazing kind of filmmakers from the region. David White created This Town recently, which was a great success. And David's gone on to do some wonderful work. His most recent was Far North,
mm,
which has been, won a number of awards around the world. We've had a group of people called Cristobal Lopez and Dane Gerard,
mhm,
who trained at EIT, Eastern Institute of Technology, and then, did a number of films, one called Luella, and forgetting what the other one's called off the top of my head. But they sort of started doing some of the first digital feature
Mm,
films right back in the early 2000s. So we're not the first to do it here, but what we understand is that, what it comes down to is the people.
mm,
And if we can actually start to build up a really strong team of people driving projects, then, Hawke's Bay will start to be seen a lot more on our big screens. That's the hope.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's making me miss home a little bit, not gonna lie. I haven't been back in a while, so I might have to like come down and see if there's a spot where I can just slither myself into.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
So, James, when coming up with the cast for this, obviously you've got Daniel as Jim, you've got Ruth Strong as Jess, you've got Leisha Ward Knox as Sarah, and then you've got Peter Elliott as Michael. Now, did you know, obviously you've known Daniel for a while, but did you know the others for a long while, and why did you choose them to be in this film, let alone be these characters?
Yeah, so Ruth I sort of known longer than Dan as a friend, and always sort of had her in mind, but never really progressed it because the other elements weren't in place. And it wasn't really until connected with Dan and made that connection and saw how they would sort of work together that sort of formalized it and worked with her to come on board. The other two, so we didn't really with the way we were staging the filming, we didn't really have it all cast up front. We broke it into stages and we had to cast as we go. So, and the other two really came from the links from Dan, an old friend Leisha from your Unitech days, wasn't it? Your
Mm,
training, and then a tutor, Peter Elliott. He sort of came on really late as we were looking to film that last day in
mm.
Auckland. And he has a little cameo in it. So yeah, it sort of evolved organically and as we went, as yeah, and it sort of just fell into place.
Yeah. Well, I mean, from what we've been speaking about, even though it is an independent film, like you've got cameos, you've got layers, you've got your composers, like you have basically like rented out a cabin, part of the woods, like this is, by the sounds of it, turning into like something that could be a big Hollywood thing. Do you ever see it being that?
This film.
Yeah.
Who knows? You don't know. You don't,
Mm.
and we've already said as we've gone along, you don't know how the audience is going to respond to it.
Mm,
We had really good response so far with our test screenings and refinement, but you don't know just how it's going to land. Um, yeah, it's just I guess we'll find out on Thursday how people respond to it, and I think it has if you can go there and you can not expect to see a Kiwi film.
mm,
It is Kiwi. It's a New Zealand story, but it just has that little something a little bit extra and the layering and its European elements and a little bit more to offer in it, and open yourself up to that and get drawn into it.
Mm.
It will really reward you. Yeah.
yeah.
So it's being open-minded about it and just yeah, responding to what you see in front of you without making too many expectations around
Yeah.
what you're going to see.
I think the other thing to add to that too, Martin, is that it's really hard to know, like as a whether you're a filmmaker or an artist or a musician or whatever, you don't you go into it because you want to,
Mm,
and you create an outcome that you're proud of, and then where it lands is up to audiences. And so we're at that point now where we've got to, you know, see what the audience says,
mm,
and we'll just
Mm.
keep riding that wave.
yeah. Well, I mean, how would you explain the film in, I would say, a couple of words to maybe like an 18-year-old who is, just like walking around town, sees there's a film and, walks in? How would you explain it to that 18-year-old in a couple of words?
Yeah, good question. Um, yeah, what would I say? It's, it's certainly, I guess, confronting and invasive, but you run out of words already, haven't you? But as I've said to other people, I think it's where you end up in the film too. So it's the resolution of it. So yeah, it's thought provoking. That was I'd say. Yeah, and
Hmm.
challenging. Yeah.
Yeah. Daniel?
Yeah, I think it's that whole element of reflecting back to society. This is a
Mm,
chance to see back, some of those things that we probably don't like to talk about.
mm,
And so what we're holding up here is an opportunity to talk about it.
mm.
So I think for an 18-year-old, we would say that it's an exploration of everyday life. That's what I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for the screening at the MTG in Napier, you guys are also doing a Q&A. First off, is it going to be before the film or after the film?
After.
After.
So I think it's
Okay,
important to let people see so they know what you're talking about. Yeah.
fair enough.
Yeah.
And
So give they were experience in the moment with us, and then yeah, it's interesting to get those first initial responses to it and see what they're going to be. Yeah, because people have lots of questions about elements of it, and we try to avoid giving them the answers because I
mm,
think it is going to be what it is to individual people and what it is to me. And when I'm writing it, it's going to be different to them and how they interpret it. So it's sort of answering their question but not answering their question, allowing them the space to process themselves. And that all makes sense, my statement there, once you see it and you experience what I'm talking about and how it's something you come away. Another person who saw it initial screenings like, man, I'm still thinking about that film and it's 2 days later and it's still with me. So yeah, it certainly leaves an impression, but there's it's to interpret as well. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, we're currently having like a one-on-two conversation, but in the theater, you are going to have possibly like hundreds of people that are first off going to see your work and going to see Dan on screen playing his gym, and you guys are gonna walk down. You guys are gonna sit down, and I feel like you guys are gonna be bombarded with a whole bunch of questions because I feel like this movie will kind of cater to the 18-year-old. It will cater to like a 65-year-old woman. It's going to cater to everyone. Are you guys prepared for the amount of publicity this is going to get? Because you guys have already had stories on the New Zealand Herald. You guys are already on IMDb. You've got a website. Dan's been promoting this thing like crazy. His Facebook profile is literally the film. So,
Yeah, look, I think the publicity side of things for us, Martin, is an outcome of the work. I think we'll deal with questions and we'll respond accordingly as much, as we can. Um, it's one of those sorts of things that as a filmmaker, as that or as a performer, you've always got to be grounded. And what's really beautiful, I think, is that we are as a team really grounded in the work that we've produced. And so we're actually just really looking forward to sharing it and hearing people's responses. So I think that's really, really quite exciting.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Again, it's been funny. People would ask questions in the screenings, and I said, "What that point? What's that point?" And then someone else in the audience go, "That's because they do." They've seen different things and they've worked them out
Hmm.
themselves, and they tell the other person before you even get time to comment on it. So
mm,
everyone sees different things within it, which is really nice. And
yeah,
they're really excited when they can answer that for the other person.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that will start those conversations, I guess, for people, groups, and people will go and share it
yeah.
together.
Yeah, I think it's also funny, like when people are watching the film and they're thinking of questions to ask because they know there's going to be like a Q&A thing, or they can go onto your guys' website and then they're thinking of the question, and then they watch a particular part in the film, and they're just like, "Wow, that just answered my question." I think that's like the best feeling ever.
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely. And look, we have had moments like that, through all the test screenings, and especially what I've really enjoyed is that when someone's asked a question, someone's answered it for them,
Mm.
and then they've gone, "Oh, yeah, I get that," and you're like, "Yeah, cool, awesome," you know. And it's funny though because if someone doesn't get it, there'll be a phone call in a couple of days saying, like, I've just worked it out. And
Yeah.
generally their working outs might be completely different as well from what we were
Mm.
anticipating the
Mm,
responses would be.
Yeah,
So
and they interpret it in a way and go, well, that's actually really
that's
beautiful.
really cool.
And it's
Yeah.
not wrong because
Yeah.
there's the possibility to have that interpretation. It's
mm,
not what we'll focus on at the moment, but it's there and the world and the realm and the characters allow them to have that interpretation from their own
mm.
perspective. So yeah, that's interesting.
Hmm.
Also, James, how did you get City Productions and Shrimpton Films involved?
I'll say Dan is Cortetti, that's his
Uh-huh.
production company. And my production company is Shrimpton Film that we both work under. So yeah.
So,
Okay.
we've sort of partnered up on a number of different things, and
Mm,
you can see on our websites that there's, at least sort of 6 or 7 projects that we've got in the pipeline, that we're working towards. And then, there's also the probably other half a dozen projects or thereabouts as well that we've, kind of been running as well. But the production companies are our vehicles to capture work and or to create work.
hmm So, where do you see you guys selves in like I would say 5 years? James, we'll start with you. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Um, yeah, like it's been a quite a tough journey making this film and trying to make it with nothing and still, still trying to survive. So I'd like to be able to be in a position where I can do it professionally and sort of live, you know what I mean? And have an income where I can, take on each film from development to pre-production right through and have that beautiful opportunity to do that.
Mm.
Yeah, with my projects.
Daniel, is yours the same still from our interview or has it changed?
What
Oh,
did you say
yeah, I can't
then?
remember. I'm trying to think what I said back then too. I might have less kids at home. That'd be good.
Mm,
In 5 years. But for me, I just want to keep working. I love telling great stories. I love being in mixed creative positions. I think one of the things I may have touched on last time is that, it's one of those things in New Zealand where, it's pretty hard to just be an actor or just be a something. We're multi-talented and faceted with our abilities.
hmm
um so for me, yeah, I want to be telling more stories, and whether they're multi-million dollar projects or low budget projects, is beside the point. For me it's more about telling great stories.
Yeah. So again, congratulations on everything. Um, with this film, do you see it like, I don't know, maybe being an art exhibit or something? Because by the looks of it, it is a piece of art. Like it is like James has been saying, it's got layers, it's got everything. Do you guys see it maybe being in like a little snippets and like TikToks or YouTube videos, or possibly being in like an art gallery just saying, hey, this was made in our own backyard?
Yeah, who knows, eh? Yeah, for me, the art form is the making of the film and the process. All that other stuff is all extra, but my creative focus is on the writing and telling stories within that 90, 120 minute sort of window of filmmaking. Yeah, and focusing my skill and time into refining my ability in that. So all that other stuff is interesting, but I get pretty obsessive about stuff and pretty focused. So it's pretty hard to draw me out of that and pull me away into the other stuff. But yeah, there's no reason why not.
Mm.
So, what advice would you give to someone like myself that is trying to kind of like branch out into this creative world? Like, what advice would you give me?
Never give up.
Mm.
I think that's as simple as that because I think that you know, a lot of people see the success, but actually what they don't see is all the hard work that goes into it and the belief and the sacrifices and the challenges that you continually face on a some days an hour by hour basis. So I think the if you want to be a creative, you really, really believe that that's what you want to do, because it's a hard road. It's not easy, and it's something where you've got to be strong and have confidence and belief in yourself, and just never give up. And I think that it's a message that I would say to a lot of young people, because I think that we live in a world now which is becoming a lot more fast paced and has changed a lot from when we were kids. And I'm sure that, as generations move on and go forward, we're starting to see people give up a lot more and not follow their dreams or their passions or their or things. So
Nice.
that'd be my one. Don't stop.
Yeah,
Love
I agree fully. Yeah, I was talking to someone and they were sort of struggling in their business, and I said, "Oh well, I've always been with my film." I was like, "Oh, there's this it just doesn't seem to be cutting through, doesn't seem to be happening." And but the thing is, you don't know where you're at. You don't know if you're the 50% away from success or that you're at 90, you're at 95, and what the next day adds. And then always that inner voice within me that propelled me to keep going and keep making it. And it's that inner voice and that strength of self and that commitment to value of what you have to contribute is really important, and valuing that and not just trying to give up and try to fit through the boxes that are seem to be getting success for the moment, because you won't be able to succeed in that anyway, because that's not you. You've just been mimicking. So
it.
it's really staying strong to your vision and what you have to say and seeing value in it and seeing it through no matter what. Yeah.
Mm.
And then yeah, if there's truth in that, people will start to listen. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure Dan remembers when we first met, I said that I wanted to be a world-renowned stand-up comedian. Now I'm sitting here working retail, you know. Like I'm still doing the whole comedy thing, but I never thought I would be, working in retail. I'd always thought I'd be like on stage or, but things are slowly coming up, things are in the works, so fingers crossed. Um,
Good on you.
Thank you. So, what do you think the next project's going to be for you, James?
Um, yeah, I've got like I've got about 6 or 7. Like very, very, very. I
Always
think
busy.
yeah, and I've had a toss up between some of them. I think the next one's probably going to be the romantic comedy,
Hmm.
just because it's probably the most commercial for a lower budget to really work. And it's such a cool, unique story. And yeah, I think it'll be really good for audiences and be really accessible. And
Yeah.
I could
Daniel,
tell
what
you
about
about it,
you?
but I don't want to speak about the
Ooh.
context of the story. Um,
Mike time with Marty sneak peek.
but it is yeah, again, it's a film where you're watching something and yeah, there's a few tricks and things that happen through it, and you sort of led down into something, and yeah, it sort of has a lot of layers again, but very it's much more accessible in the dialogue and the process and the way it's made compared to this film, which is probably has more layering and abstract sort of themes in it. Mm.
Okay.
Again, you're just
Dan,
meeting the requirement of the genre
yeah,
that you're making.
love it. Daniel, what about you, bud?
For me, there's a little beautiful little short film coming up called well, it's changed its name now, but it's a beautiful transgender story
Mm,
about loss and sort of explores a part of our history around the New Zealand sort of AIDS epidemic in the 80s. So it's a gorgeous little story with a local writer and director called Stevie Goodwin.
mhm,
So that'd be great. And I've got another couple of projects as well. Looking to do a documentary on a gentleman called William Pike. So William and I have been working together for about the last year, sort of developing the idea. Um, William lost his leg in the Mount Ruapehu eruption in 2007.
mhm,
So it's the sort of a docudrama about his survival, really. It's not very often we have a New Zealand volcano mountain survival story
mm,
that's real.
Mm.
Um, and I also have been working with another local novelist called Marianne Scott.
mhm,
She has a book that is called The Mess of Our Lives, and it's a beautiful story about a young boy coming of age, very talented musician, and lives with a mother who's a hoarder.
mm,
And so it's a very interesting social story, which really appeals to me. So yeah, lots of things working in the pipeline, and on top of that as well for me, I've had the privilege really over these last couple of years since I last sort of caught up with you, Martin, and
mm,
have started a national screen industry training program called the Kahurangi Toiatia. So that's been a massive effort, and looking forward to attaching that program to a few more films across 2026. This should be really exciting.
Mm.
Yeah, so lots happening.
mm. Can't wait to see it. Now, James, me and Dan have already done this on his interview. We're going to play a little game to finish things off. Are you ready?
Okay. I'm not very playful, so I'll just be good.
It's all right. We'll go easy. This game is called Third Time's the Charm. So I'm going to give you a topic. You just got to name three of them. And Dan, you're not allowed to help.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready, James?
Hmm.
All right. Give me three types of chocolate.
Actual. Okay, I can get yeah. Okay, yeah. Milk chocolate, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, dark cocoa chocolate. Geez, white chocolate. Yeah, white chocolate, I guess. Yeah.
I wasn't
All
helping.
right. All right. No, no. All right. I made this one easy. Name three shots you'd see in a film.
Close up, a medium close up, and a wide shot.
See, that was easy.
Well, you're on my subject, aren't you? I don't think much about chocolate.
It's all right. Name
Anything
three
food
cel
related, don't bother. Yeah, it's not my
Noted.
forte.
Name three celebrities you'd love to work with.
Jeez. Probably no, who would know? I think probably Anna Diamos, really for my romantic comedy, but she's way out of that element. I think I don't know. I quite like the guy. He's a French guy, and his name has lost me. Like super handsome. He used to be married to I can't remember her name. Um, yeah, celebrities. Yeah, I wouldn't know. I think I've named one, but it's not. Yeah, not something I think about. I think
Hmm.
yeah, about who or what or possibilities or actually there's that really striking Australian actress again. totally lost her name, which I was thinking, wow, she's got such a great striking face, perfect for this 19th century tall ships story I have. Um, but again, I've lost her name in my head here. So yeah,
Not,
don't really follow that so much. So I've totally failed there too. Sorry.
sorry, it's not Margot Robbie, is it?
No,
No, okay.
there's more obscure than that. More a little bit of cinema, mainly film. Oh, she was in the Mindhunter one as the psychologist with the
Oh, the
two
older
guys,
woman. Yeah.
the blonde woman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know that one.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, really interesting, I think, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. This might be a shot in the dark. Name three pros of working with Mr. Dan.
Oh, great communicator, straight up and honest. You get
Hmm
them pretty well. There's two. And yeah, really confident in himself and delivering. Yeah, there's that. There's a
hmm
fourth one there for you.
Okay. Name three dream locations to shoot a film.
Um, Paris, France. I think I'm really into uh, sort of English period
Mm,
stuff, castles and old estates and stuff. So some of those in through England there, some of those old sort of manor houses and stuff. And probably, well, I did miss out that I do have a crime thriller
mm,
that I'm working on too that I feel that it'd be so good to see it in Hawke's Bay here because it's a real gritty sort of like I'm deviating here from your little game, but so like a True Detective season one, so gritty into the like underbelly of the city,
mm,
and sort of every time I drive past the fertilizer works, it's pretty much an eyesore. But I think these are so filmic and so industrial, and all the other elements around here that really play into sort of untapped sort of elements that you don't
mm,
see a lot in New Zealand because it's so Auckland, Wellington, Queenstown, Christchurch
Mm.
centric. You're seeing those same locations over
mm.
and over. And yeah, thought the nice provincial sort of city element of Hawke's Bay would work really nice for that and give a fresh take for a context, shooting out at Te Wonga,
Mm.
those elements and the contrast between certain suburbs and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Well, where can we see the film? I know we're doing screenings in Napier, but where else can we see the film? And are there other chances of little places like Palmerston North, of hopefully being able to see it on the big screen?
Yeah, absolutely, Martin. Look, we're opening this week. We have a sort of a private premiere on Wednesday, which is all sold out, which is really lovely at Focal Point Cinema.
Mhm,
Then we've got public screenings on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 6th, 7th, 8th this week,
mhm,
and next week on Wednesday, the 12th, as well at Focal Point. Then we hit into Napier on the 15th at the MTG Century Theatre. And then we're going to our beautiful little central Hawke's Bay on the 23rd. We felt really passionate that we wanted to show Hawke's Bay first, so we're also going to Wairoa on the 26th to see our good mate up there, Leo Koziel, who runs the Wairoa Māori Film Festival, and then up to Gisborne as well for a showing in the Odeon on the
mhm,
27th. Then we'll be shooting up to Auckland. We've got the Bridgeway on the 3rd of December. Thanks to Kelly at Rialto there, which is wonderful. A strong connection there with Peter and Peter Elliott from the film.
mhm.
And look, we're very fortunate that the cinema owner here in Focal Point also owns Palmerston North and Levin. So we will be coming to Palmerston hopefully this side of Christmas because that's where a lot of my family is,
Ah,
believe it or not. So my mother's whānau is based around Levin and Palmerston. And so just sort of due to, those really strong connections. We're sort of taking the piece to places we feel a very strong connection with to
Mm,
start with. And then we'll start to branch out. And we've already been phone called by other cinemas around the country asking if we would like to take the film there. Um, but we just want to do the distribution a little bit different.
mm,
We want to sort of build audiences and have people in the cinema that really want to see the film.
mhm.
So yeah, we'll be rolling out over towards Christmas, hopefully with 7 or 8 screenings, and then coming into the new year, we'll start spreading out again across the country. So this will be a bit of a journey for us, probably for about the next 6 to 8 months in cinemas. And then we're also launching it out into about 40 to 50 festivals around the world. So it's going to have a little bit of a life, theatrical
Mm.
release and a festival release. And then we'll just sort of see where we go from there.
Yeah.
Again, major congratulations. That is absolutely amazing. So, if people have seen the film or are planning on seeing the film, where can we find like the trailer or something like that?
So we've got a website you can shoot along to. Everything is on there. All the screenings, all the dates. You can purchase tickets to each of those two, which is www.whatliesbetweenfilm.com. And all information about the film, trailers, reviews, anything that's in the media is being put up there on a regular basis.
Mhm.
So yeah, jump on in and on there you can see our details as well. So if you like the film and or you want to send a message or ask a question or connect with us, please feel free to flick us an email and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Perfect. All right. Well, James, Daniel, once again, congratulations. Thank you for sitting down and having a talk with me. Is there anything else you guys would like to chat about before we sadly part ways?
No, it's been great, Martin. Yeah, nice to meet you.
Yeah,
And
thanks, Martin.
Yeah, no
yeah,
worries. Hopefully, I will see you guys down in these neck of the woods, and we'll be able to possibly do something in person after we've watched the film.
yeah, cool. Yeah, because we, like Dan said, it's all on our website. We keep adding that as soon as we get information, we just add it to our website.
Yeah,
It's the place to go to get all of the screenings as they roll out, and we add sessions and dates and
yeah.
locations. So yeah, we're already talking about Palmerston North, aren't we, with
Hmm.
the focal guys? So yeah, coming. But as Dan was saying about that with the independent, you could put it in 150 screens.
Mm,
No one will see it because no one knows about it. So we're having to just roll it out so it gets the justice it deserves, and you can hopefully get an audience there
mm,
rather than just throwing it out and just no one's going there, and then it just gets pulled down because no one's going to see it. So we have to be
yeah.
a little bit strategic of how we do it, and
Mm,
so we it actually it has a chance to work and doesn't fail. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I know without a doubt it's going to be a big success. I mean, I've known Daniel for quite a number of years, and also seen the trailer and being able to sit down and chat with you guys about it. I, without a doubt, have no obligation that it's going to be great, and I can't wait to see it.
Oh, cheers, Martin. We super appreciate it, man. Thanks for taking the time to reach out and have a chat.
Yeah, of course. You can't get rid of me that easy, Dan.
Fair enough.
Alrighty, thanks again, guys.
Cool.
Awesome,
And
mate.
remember to check out that stalker, mate, on YouTube.
Yes, we'll do.